Okay, I'm gonna show you a very simple recipe that we almost make for every major event, Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever. It's just a simple garlic base, of course, as always, with breadcrumbs and mushrooms, just plain white mushrooms, breadcrumbs, and artichoke hearts. So this is the brand of artichoke hearts I usually use, but you want to get the artichokes hearts in water, not the one in oil, and drain those. So you're going to drain the artichoke hearts. They can be different sizes. You want to make sure that the top of the leaves are not chewy. So you want to cut down maybe that much of it. This way you know you're into the heart. It'll cut down on the chewiness. And then you're going to cut these into quarters, depending on how small that one. That one you might cut into thirds. This one you may only just cut into halves. And the same thing with the mushrooms. The bigger ones you're going to cut into quarters or even eighths. And the smaller ones you're just going to cut in half. So you're going to try to get everything uniform sizes. Also cut off the end of the tail there. It's all this preparation that makes it so good. Now what you're going to do is the breadcrumbs, this may look familiar if you know my recipes. This is going to be the same breadcrumb recipe that you use for the stuffed artichokes. So follow the stuffed artichoke recipe for how to brown and mix the breadcrumbs. And again, this time I'm happen to be using the Italian style, so you're going to put a little less seasoning than I have in that recipe. But use the judgment of, I would say it should have a total of 2 to 3 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. So if it's flavored breadcrumbs, you're going to still put it maybe 2. There's not that much in there. And of course the Parmesan cheese that I added. But you'll see that all in that recipe for the stuffed artichokes. This is what you're going to use just for this mixture of mushrooms and artichoke hearts. Okay, so you see the mushrooms. It's about a pound of mushrooms. You can make more or less. It doesn't matter. It's not exact measurements you're going to do here. Now you're going to set some boiling water, a little salted in the water on the stove. You are going to throw these mushrooms into the water and let it cook for a minute and then dump it right out into a strainer. You do not want to, maybe even 45 seconds. You do not want to cook these mushrooms more than a minute, and then you're going to leave them in the strainer and even press down on them when they cool a little to get all the water out. But this will soak up the water and they cook very quickly. So it's kind of hard to know how much of this, depending on the can, you should take. So I bite off a tip at the end, and if I find that it's hard to chew, you can almost tell by the color. You want to cut down till you're really getting to just the moist part. See, this is, you can't break it apart, but this breaks very easily. Okay, and you're going to cut those pieces up. So either by trimming the top a little, like that, and then you're going to cut them into smaller pieces. Okay, and just set that aside in a bowl. Okay, so you have your artichoke hearts cut up. You have your mushrooms cut up. A little bit more mushrooms than artichokes. We're going to throw this into the boiling water. Watch it very carefully. 1 minute is what I'm going to do. And then dump it into the strainer and let it sit and drain the water out. Okay, so you're going to see the mushrooms cook down. So now you have actually more artichokes than you have mushrooms. So you may want to even do a little more mushrooms. And you're just going to mix that together. So those are the cooked mushrooms and the pre-cooked, but right from the can, artichokes. And you're just going to mix those together. And then we're toasting the breadcrumbs now. We're going to add the toasted breadcrumbs. And then we're going to put that whole thing in the oven at 350 just for a few minutes. And then maybe you can put it in the oven at 350 for maybe 10 minutes. And then 5 minutes you're going to brown the breadcrumbs that are on the top that you'll sprinkle on the top. Okay, and as usual, you're going to use your judgment of how much of the breadcrumbs you're going to put in here. You're going to mix most of it in with the mixture. You're going to save out, we're not going to put all of this, But this is gonna, after I stir this together, I'm gonna sprinkle this on top, and then we're gonna put that back, put the whole thing in the oven, but then let this, what I put on top of this, brown using the broiler. You gotta watch it very carefully. It could be 2 minutes, could be 3 minutes, could be 5 minutes. But once you see it's getting brown, you take it out of the oven. Almost forgot one ingredient. You're gonna wanna put some balsamic vinegar. Not a much. Not a much. You're just gonna sprinkle it a little bit. People won't even know that there's vinegar in there. That was probably a teaspoon, maybe 2 teaspoons. Okay, mix it together. Now see, it's all mixed together. I'm gonna put some olive oil on top of this too. After I sprinkle these breadcrumbs on the top, again, it's gonna kind of look like it's almost completely covered with breadcrumbs. You'll see the artichokes and the mushrooms peeking through. And we're gonna just sprinkle some olive oil on top, not too much. This goes in the oven just as it is for 10 minutes, and not even 10 minutes, 9 minutes, just really warming it. Actually, I have the oven at 350. I'm putting it in there, turning the oven off. After 10 minutes, I'll turn the broiler on for 3-4 minutes, whatever it takes to brown this on top. Okay, and this is what it looks like when it's done. Nice and browned on the top, and it smells so good. And you just scoop it with a spoon. And actually, I like to heat it up. You can serve it more as a cold dish, but if you're bringing it somewhere, I would recommend heating it up. Like I said, I turned the oven off. It was at 320 actually. Turned it off, put this in there, let it sit in there for about 10 minutes, and then browned it for about 5 minutes. And believe me, it'll be a big hit. Enjoy.